Incredible revelation: flight attendant destroys woman's passport, transforming her life. Unexpec. The chaos nestled within the cramped walls of Lisa's tiny New York City apartment was a constant reminder of her struggles. The peeling paint, worn furniture, and the incessant noise from the streets below mirrored the turmoil inside her heart. As a single mother of two, working 3 jobs just to keep her head above water, she felt the weight of the world bearing down on her. But this week, the pressure reached a boiling point. Her passport, the lifeline to a crucial trip to visit her ailing mother in California, had been mistakenly destroyed by a flight attendant just days before departure. The thought of not being able to be with her mother crushed her spirit. Time raced forward, unyielding, as Lisa stood frozen in disbelief. She could already sense her children's disappointment, their little faces reflecting back to her a desperate hope. But all she felt was an overwhelming wave of despair. How could she fix this? Her mind raced through the implications, every thought jumbled with panic. Lisa had given up everything to provide for her kids, and now, at the mercy of bureaucracy, it felt like she was losing everything again: her hope, her dignity, her family. Amidst the wreckage of her perfectly orchestrated life, she made a choice that both terrified and empowered her. She would reach out to her estranged father. A retired airline pilot, he might know the ins and outs of how to expedite the replacement of her passport. But the idea sent a chill down her spine. Years of unspoken hurt and disappointment stood between them like an unscalable wall, and yet here she was, ready to confront their fractured relationship just to save herself and her children from heartbreak. Despite her resolve, vulnerability crept into her thoughts. She trembled at the possibility of facing rejection. Would he even want to help her? The memories of their last argument felt palpable, echoes of unspoken words hanging heavy in the air. Only hours passed, but it felt like days before she mustered the courage to call. Each ring amplified her anxiety until finally, she heard the familiar sound of his voice, stone cold, yet tinged with surprise. "Lisa," he said, the fatigue evident in his tone. Silence hung between them, thick with unresolved pain and years lost to pride. As they awkwardly began discussing the crisis, anger and regret bubbled just beneath the surface. The fight to reclaim her life was mirrored in her father's own struggles, buried beneath decades of expectations. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each passing moment, Lisa's frustration escalated. Her father's outdated views clashed with the woman she had become. And just as she began to voice her desires, the air grew heavy with tension. Would any of it matter? What if, after all this, she still couldn't reclaim her passport, her only ticket to closure? Just when hope flickered like a fragile flame, Lisa's resolve deepened, igniting an unexpected passion for change, a cry for justice that resonated deeply within her. But with every question she wrestled through her mind, the fear of denial loomed larger. Standing at the precipice of anger and desperation, she felt the crushing weight of her dreams, delicately balanced against the wishes of her family. As the city outside roared to life in its relentless rhythm, Lisa remained trapped in her turmoil, trapped between past resentments and the urgent call to loyalty. With her children's future intertwined with her every decision, the stakes soared higher. Would she muster the courage to reclaim not only her passport but her identity, or would the ghosts of her past swallow her whole? The clock continued to tick, and with it, the looming uncertainty of her journey gnawed at her thoughts. The room felt suffocating, filled with unresolved tension as Lisa attempted to find some clarity in her swirling emotions. Her heart raced while her father's silence weighed down on her like a heavy fog. This wasn't just about a passport anymore, it was about rebuilding a fractured bridge between them. Determined to push through the discomfort, Lisa took a deep breath and decided to shift the conversation. Dad, I understand we have a lot to unpack, but right now, my priority is my mom. I need to replace that passport." The words hung in the air, potent with urgency. "I can't just fix everything for you, Lisa," he responded, the defensiveness creeping into his tone, a remnant of their shared history. "You're an adult now." In that moment, her frustration transformed into resolve. How long had she been treated as if she were still that scared little girl seeking approval? The memories of late-night arguments echoed in her mind, but she pushed them aside, focusing on her purpose instead. "I don't need you to fix everything, I just need you to guide me through this process." The vulnerability in her voice cracked through his tough exterior for just a moment. She could sense a shift, a slight thawing of the emotional ice. "Well, I might know a few tricks," he finally conceded, his tone softening. As they discussed, Lisa's anxiety morphed into clarity. Her father's insights about expediting the process felt like a lifeline thrown into stormy waters. Yet, deep inside, a seed of anger began to grow. Why had this process been one she needed to navigate alone for so long? Her journey was demanding resilience, and it was time to acknowledge the strength within her. The conversation transitioned from logistical details to deeper emotions. Challenging as it was, Lisa found herself revealing pieces of her life that had long remained hidden. "I'm tired of feeling like I'm struggling alone. I want us to find a way forward, but I can't do that while we're stuck in this past." For a fleeting moment, she saw the flicker of vulnerability cross her father's face, revealing a truth she longed to confront. The man she had idolized as a child was as lost as she was. Perhaps he had distanced himself to protect his own sense of failure. As he shared snippets of his own regrets, Lisa recognized a mutual struggle for connection. Thunder rumbled outside, mirroring the emotional storm brewing within her. As she hung up the phone, she felt a mixture of triumph and doubt. Yes, they had taken one small step towards reconciliation, but the journey ahead promised to be a rocky road. And yet, the taste of success ignited something new within her, a desire to fuse her past and present into a new identity. Perhaps this was the beginning of a path toward not only repairing her relationship with her father, but also reclaiming her self-worth as an independent woman and mother. Reinvigorated, Lisa sat at her kitchen table surrounded by her children's drawings. As she began to strategize her next moves for securing that passport, a realization washed over her. She had not just a father to rely on, but a strength buried deep within that she had only begun to tap into. The pressure of her chaotic life was daunting, but every moment spent in fear only fueled her resolve to rise above it. With her heart set on change, Lisa knew she needed to confront her fear of rejection, not just from her father, but from others who had written her off throughout her life. It was time she emerged from the shadows of doubt. The morning light streamed through her window, illuminating a bold decision: she would seek out help beyond her father. She would network, advocate, and, for the first time, ask the universe for what she truly needed. And just as she began drafting a list of potential allies, friends, work colleagues, even strangers from the myriad of pessimism she had faced, an email notification flashed on her screen. Curiosity piqued, she clicked it open, not prepared for what she would discover about another critical opportunity looming on the horizon. Could this be the moment that would change everything, not just for her but for her family? The tension thickened around her, waiting for the next chapter of her unfolding journey. The email's subject line sent a jolt through Lisa. She hesitated, heart racing, as she could sense that this communication might offer either an opportunity or yet another setback. Was she ready to face what it entailed? Gathering courage, she opened the message. It was an invitation to a local networking event specifically for women in leadership, an opportunity poised to put her front and center in the realm of personal and professional growth. This was not just a casual meetup. The gathering promised to introduce her to influential figures in her community who could potentially assist her in navigating her hurdles. But alongside that sense of hope came a wave of anxiety. Could she really step into that space? The voices of self-doubt hissed through her mind. They warned her of the unfamiliarity, the potential judgment, and the conversations she might fumble. Yet, glancing at her children's drawings on the fridge, the challenges of her past faded momentarily, replaced by the hope they inspired in her. They deserved a mother who could rise and pave a way forward not just for them, but for herself. With a burst of determination, Lisa clicked on the RSVP button. It was a small step, but significant. She knew from past experience that overcoming these little hurdles fueled a cascading shift in her psyche. Mentally, she started strategizing how to present herself authentically, without the garb of self-doubt she'd been wearing for years. Who was she at heart? A mother, yes, but also a capable professional with skills and dreams waiting to be activated. Yet, the looming decision of whether to invite her father along niggled at her. Could she involve him in this journey of self-discovery? After their recent conversation, perhaps this was the bridge to cross an opportunity to create new memories together. But the fear of rejection clawed at her thoughts. What if he declined? What if he only filled the space with skepticism? Would it take away from her progress her identity as a self-reliant woman? Lisa pushed those turbulent thoughts aside. She'd spent too much time in fear. This event was more than just an invitation, it was a calling, a chance to reshape her narrative. With her mind spinning, she began to craft messages to potential connections she could reach out to, confident that whatever feelings of inadequacy once burdened her would no longer confine her. As her fingers glided across the keyboard, she found herself pondering her professional life thus far. How many chances had she let slip through her fingers due to indecision or fear? It was undeniable a visceral realization hit that she had the skills to network, to express her needs, and to stand tall among a community of women who had likely faced similar battles. The clock ticked as minutes turned into hours. With each click, a profound sense of purpose burgeoned within her. Lisa was not simply preparing herself for that upcoming event, she was cultivating a new perception of who she was going to become. The day of the event arrived with vivid intensity. As she stood before her mirror adorned in a smart yet comfortable outfit, her reflection reminded her of the woman who had long been buried beneath self-imposed limitations. She drew in a deep breath and whispered to herself, "You are ready." Walking into the space filled with chatter and laughter, she felt the familiar pangs of anxiety worm their way back. But this time, she recognized them for what they were, old ghosts reminding her of the woman she had outgrown. Today, she was not going to let them define her. As she approached the first group of women, Lisa felt the electric potential hanging in the air. Each interaction was a heartbeat in this new chapter, her opportunity to forge a new identity reflected in the eyes of those she connected with. In the midst of the conversations buzzing around her, she caught a glimpse of a familiar face. A woman from her past, someone who had once doubted her ambitions yet now stood in a position of influence. Lisa's heart raced with the possibilities of what this encounter would mean. Facing this unexpected confrontation, would Lisa embrace her past with resolve, or would she allow her insecurities to dim her shine? The moment of choice loomed ahead, ready to shape not just her future, but how she would finally confront the remnants of her old self. The rumble of conversation faded as Lisa's heart drummed violently in her chest, every pulse hyper-aware of the woman before her. Sarah, a name once synonymous with elitism and skepticism, had woven herself into the fabric of Lisa's earlier experiences, her former job overshadowed by contempt instead of camaraderie. Standing now before the epitome of her insecurities filled Lisa with a tempest of emotions, anxiety, defiance, and an undeniable flicker of expectation. Could she really change the narrative? Sarah's eyes narrowed, but not with malice, instead holding a cautious curiosity. "Lisa, is that you?" A hint of disbelief rippled through her tone, revealing the need for validation that Lisa herself grappled with. Taking a deep breath, Lisa decided to test the waters of this renewed identity. "Yes, it's me," she said, her voice steady but carrying the weight of her past. "It's been a while." The two women clutched their drinks, each absorbing the charged atmosphere. Where once Lisa had felt beneath Sarah, now she sensed the power of her own experience, a life filled with obstacles and growth. It sparked a quiet courage to continue. I've been working on some projects, she ventured, hoping to shoulder the awkward silence with purpose. Projects? Sarah's voice dropped, scrutinizing. It would have been easy for Lisa to blink aside the fading edge of nervousness, yet she held her ground. I moved into community development, actually, she clarified, flaring with an unexpected boldness. Expecting disbelief, Lisa was surprised to see a flicker of intrigue in Sarah's expression. That's different from before, she observed. Yes, Lisa admitted, but now I think it's essential to build connections in parts of our lives where we feel we can help the most. At the mention of helping others, she felt a pulse of clarity. Lisa was transforming before her own eyes a picture of empowerment, daring to articulate what had once felt out of reach. Could Sarah recognize this evolution, or did old judgments linger like shadows? Interesting, Sarah replied, though her demeanor remained cool. I'd like to hear more about that. And just like that, their conversation ignited a bridge across the years. Each word exchanged felt like a slow unveiling of layers that had long suffocated Lisa. She began to appreciate the confidence in advocating for change not just in her surroundings, but within herself. Perhaps this unexpected encounter could shatter the lingering ghosts of her past. As the conversation flowed, Lisa navigated her statements intentionally, each one crafted to reflect the growth she had undergone. Moments shifting unease dissipated as she realized this was not about Sarah's acknowledgement, but rather her own acceptance of newfound competence. With every interaction, she felt less like she was standing at the edge of a precipice and more like she was stepping firmly on solid ground. Still, Sarah's probing questions mixed with sharp observations caused a dull ache of vulnerability. You always hesitated, closed yourself off, she assessed, lips pursed. What changed? Pausing, Lisa grappled with the question. What had changed? Was it the invitation she had received, the resolve nurtured through nights spent planning, or the long, personal journey of taking on each day? I realized it was time to stop giving power to fear, she replied, her heart steadying. To confront it and let it inform my choices rather than dictate them. Sarah regarded her for a long moment, head tilted as if re-examining a puzzle she thought she had already solved. Was Lisa still that uncertain girl from their shared history, or was she someone with the potential to impact the very tide of conversations? The uncertainty blossomed anew, casting a shadow over Lisa's earlier confidence. As the evening progressed, Lisa's initial lighthouse of hope began to flicker with uncertainty. Would the new connections she formed stand the test of scrutiny? Sarah's presence felt like both a challenge and an opportunity. The stakes were high, but within them lay the chance to define what victory truly meant both as an individual and as a professional. As she took a cautious sip of her drink, glancing across the flickering group of women, the path ahead emerged murkily, yet it was undeniably pulsating with promise. How deeply could she shift her narrative, and what further battles loomed? The moment of realization struck. New territory doesn't come without its price. Would Lisa fully embrace this evolution, pushing through unresolved childhood insecurities that lingered like shadows? The next stage of her metamorphosis awaited, quaking with intrigue and fear in equal measure. It was time to confront those long-buried emotions, anchoring in a strength she didn't yet know she possessed. Lisa found herself standing at the crux of an internal battle as the laughter and chatter around her blurred into a surreal haze. Sarah's piercing gaze felt like an examination, each glance dissecting parts of Lisa she had long since hidden away. With a newfound awareness pulsing beneath her skin, Lisa recognized that this was less about Sarah's perception and more about the ongoing transformation within herself. Let me share one of my current projects, Lisa suggested, her voice rising above the murmur of the crowd. A pang of nervousness quivered deep within her, battling against the conviction she was beginning to feel. We're working on creating a mentorship program for young women in underserved communities. It's vital to me that they see what's possible outside their current circumstances. An intrigued silence settled over their conversation, and Sarah's sharp demeanor softened, genuinely intrigued. That sounds ambitious. But do you really think you can make a difference? The question hung in the air like charged static, forcing Lisa to meet her own self-doubt head-on. Did she believe she could? The journey of erecting this program had awakened an immense drive within her, but doubt had a way of creeping back in. She swallowed hard, drawing on memories of late nights spent researching, planning, and drafting outlines for her vision. "I don't just think I can, I know I can," Lisa declared, her tone firming with each word as she felt a shift within her heart. "Every time I see the spark of possibility light up a young girl's face, it reaffirms my purpose. It's not just about supporting them, it's about empowering them to empower others. It's a ripple effect." Lisa's words hung heavy against the backdrop of their shared history. For so long, she'd felt like the ripple that was never quite seen. The uncertainty that had clouded her every move was now giving way to a growing sense of clarity. The trembling confidence blossoming from her core felt almost addictive. What other pearls of power lay within her, waiting for acknowledgement? Yet, as the conversation deepened, she felt a twinge. Was this bravado or genuine growth? Gripped by a moment of vulnerability, she confessed, "I struggled so much with this, with feeling inadequate. It's taken me years of work to confront my past and not let it dictate my future." Lisa watched Sarah's eyes soften, and for the first time, she sensed true curiosity where once only judgment had lived. "You really think you've changed?" "I know I have," Lisa responded, her words stronger than the fleeting flickers of uncertainty. "It's a continual process. Each step I take reminds me of who I once was, and more importantly, who I want to become." The sincerity in her voice released some of the tension knotting her stomach. Was she finally breaking through? But as Sarah nodded thoughtfully, a sudden wave of doubt rushed through Lisa again. Was it possible to stand resilient against fears long held so tightly? She had opened up to Sarah, yet the old ghosts lingered. Her vulnerability was still raw. A voice from behind Lisa interrupted, pulling her momentarily from her thoughts. "Lisa? There's someone looking for you," it said. Turning, she saw a shadowed figure deeper in the crowd, a face she recognized all too well, her old supervisor from her previous job. The unease crept back, knotting itself tightly around her heart. The woman bore an air of authority that had once intimidated Lisa, and now, in this uncertain terrain of newfound growth, she felt the pulse of anxiety instantly return. "Excuse me," Lisa said, holding Sarah's gaze for a final moment. The understanding shared between them felt like a vulnerable pact, an acknowledgement of the path traveled. As she approached the figure, Lisa's mind raced. What did this encounter signify? Would it undo what she had painstakingly begun to build? The challenge loomed heavy, and with it came the stark realization that the hurdles she faced weren't just external but woven into her very perception of self-worth and capability. The air thickened with questions that had yet to be answered. Lisa steeled herself for what was to come, understanding that every confrontation could reshape her identity yet again. The moment felt poised on the knife's edge of change. Where would this new chapter take her? What would it reveal within her and around her? Only one thing was certain: she was not willing to back down. The time had come to face the figures of her past, not just Sarah, but all of them, including her former supervisor. The stage was set for a revelation that could redefine everything she had worked so hard to build. Would she finally confront the truth, or would the shadows of doubt pull her back under? The closer Lisa got, the more vivid her memories of working under her former supervisor became. The woman's sharp voice, demanding expectations, and the way she had made Lisa feel small and insufficient swirled in her mind like a storm cloud. Once, these memories had haunted her with an insidious tenacity, but now, she could feel the edges of those past impressions dulled by the steps she had taken towards self-realization. Her former supervisor, Karen, spotted her too, the predatory glimmer of recognition crossing her face. Lisa's heart raced, but she refused to look away, drawing strength from the confident woman she had started to become. As she reached Karen, the tension thickened, each second stretching like a rubber band, ready to snap. "Lisa," Karen greeted, a practiced smile plastered on her face that barely reached her eyes. "It's been a while." "Yes, it has," Lisa replied, adopting a tone that signified she would not be intimidated. Beneath it all, a tremor of uncertainty lingered, but Lisa acknowledged its presence without letting it control her. "I've been working on some new projects." "Oh? Let us hope they're a bit more successful than the last ones," Karen said, the edges sharper than the usual professional banter. Lisa remembered the biting criticism she had endured, the late nights trying to prove herself, only to be met with dismissal. "I've learned a lot since then," Lisa declared, her voice steady as she met Karen's gaze with renewed clarity. "This project is different. It's about empowering women to find their own strengths and take charge of their destinies." Karen shifted, skepticism evident on her face. "Empowering? You know the corporate world isn't as forgiving as your lofty ideals suggest." With each word, Lisa felt a surge of determination rising within her. "I'm aware of the challenges," she replied, purpose igniting her tone. "That's precisely why I want to focus on young women in underserved communities. They deserve more than their current circumstances." "Very noble of you, but are you sure you can handle the pushback from higher-ups?" Karen's voice dripped with condescension, as if questioning Lisa's very character. The haunting memories of doubt brushed against her, but this was no longer the timid woman Karen had manipulated. Lisa inhaled deeply, steadying herself. "I will handle it because I believe in my mission. I spent years internalizing others' doubts, and now I'm reclaiming my voice. It's about creating a mentorship program that will change lives, not just mine, but those of the girls I intend to reach." The surprise in Karen's expression was palpable. Lisa could almost hear the gears turning in her former supervisor's mind, recalibrating the perception she had once confined Lisa to. In this moment, surrounded by the pulse of the crowd, Lisa felt the weight of her transformation, solidifying beneath the formidable gaze of her past. For a brief moment, silence reigned as Lisa's declaration hung in the air. She could feel a distinct shift, an energy surrounding them, as if the distance between her former self and the woman she was becoming had collapsed. Would this be the reopening of an old wound or the dawn of a new understanding? "Perhaps you are stronger than I gave you credit for," Karen finally said, her tone softer, nearly contemplative. In this rare moment, Lisa glimpsed something human behind the veneer of authority. "Maybe I always was," Lisa replied, a spike of exhilaration coursing through her. The past couldn't hold her captive any longer. But just as a smirk began forming on Karen's lips, receiving the new energy, Lisa felt a flicker of doubt gnawing at her again. What would it take for Karen to truly accept her growth? Would this small victory be enough, or would it dissolve the moment she stepped away? The conversation wasn't finished, she could feel it in the depths of her being. The lingering past intertwined with her emerging present created an unyielding knot, unwilling to unravel just yet. With uncertainty swirling, a rush of adrenaline ignited what she had thought would be a mundane reunion. This was not just a conversation, it held the potential to redefine her trajectory. Feeling the pulse of possibility, Lisa hesitated, sensing that another question lingered in the air, one that echoed within her. Would she push further, confronting the boundaries of her past, or would she choose to step away, leaving this moment behind? The choice weighed heavy on her shoulders, carving distinct paths ahead of her. As she stood facing her former supervisor, Lisa steeled herself. The time had come to face the uncomfortable truth about her perception and ownership of her own worth. What would she choose? The next moment felt pivotal, teetering between reclaiming her narrative and retreating into the shadows once more. Would she remain resolute in her newfound identity, or would doubt cut her off before she could fully embrace her power? The air was thick with unspoken words as Lisa considered her next move. Every nerve in her body urged her to dive deeper, to challenge the past that had so fiercely tried to define her. The stakes felt impossibly high. She thought of the girls she was fighting for, their dreams hinging on her perseverance. "Karen," Lisa said, fully aware she had her former supervisor's attention. You mentioned the pushback from higher-ups. That's exactly what holds so many women back in the workplace. You and I both know how the environment operates. It's one of fear. Karen's posture stiffened, momentarily caught off guard, as if Lisa had struck a nerve she wasn't ready to confront. Lisa pressed onward, emboldened by her own clarity of purpose. If those of us who have experienced this cycle of fear don't stand up and break it, how will anything change? I refuse to let the system dictate who I am or who I can become. The moment hung heavily between them, the rich tapestry of their shared history reverberating beneath the surface. Lisa could feel the wall she had experienced firsthand crumbling in theory, though the explicit invitation for connection remained tenuous. You talk about change as if it's easy, Karen replied, her voice low, defensive but revealing a hint of an old, familiar vulnerability. The harsh reality is that most 1T support it. They prefer the status quo. Lisa shook her head, her conviction crystal clear. It's not about ease, it's about necessity. For years, I was caught in expectations that clouded my potential. Now I'm ready to challenge the structures that perpetuate those narratives. I want to show young women that they can select their path, regardless of the obstacles ahead. Karen seemed momentarily surprised, and within that flicker, Lisa sensed a spark of recognition. Perhaps Karen remembered her own early dreams, hopes dulled by compliance and an overwhelming need for approval. Lisa's heart pounded, driven by a mix of fear and exhilaration. I need this mentorship program to flourish, not just for me but to create ripples of possibility. I cannot afford to retreat now, not when I've come so far. So my question to you, Karen, is, will you help me promote this? A tensioned silence ensued as Lisa's words settled like dust in the air. She held her breath, wondering if her former supervisor would rise to the occasion or shrink back into safe familiarity. There's a risk to speaking out, Lisa, Karen finally replied, her voice edged but thoughtful. A risk I'm not sure I'm willing to take anymore. Lisa's stomach tightened, but she responded with feigned nonchalance. Better to risk failure than never try at all. You taught me about resilience whether you intended to or not by demonstrating what it means to live behind a mask. For a second, Lisa felt a thrill in confronting the woman who had loomed so large in her life, whose judgments had once twisted her confidence. Karen's expression darkened, as if she were being forced to confront a reflection she wished to avoid. Is that what you really think of me? A mask? I thought I was teaching you how to survive. Lisa's resolve faltered momentarily, eyes darting away as guilt stabbed at her, but she couldn't let it unravel her. Survival isn't enough. I want to thrive. With a newfound sense of ownership over her narrative, Lisa took a step back. This meeting was more than a mere interaction, it was a critical crossroads. There was power in her realization that the definition of success was more expansive than she had ever allowed herself to believe. And yet, as she turned to leave, the fight wasn't over. The knot of their conversation felt unresolved, and the weight of Karen's silence haunted the air like a shadow over a sunlit path. Would Karen embrace the potential for change, assisting in issues deep within her domain? Or would she retreat, clinging to the history they'd shared, obscuring the future Lisa sought to build? Lisa's mind raced. She knew she couldn't let doubts tether her. Beyond this encounter lay the larger challenge of awakening all the voices those trapped and silenced. Determination surged within her as she walked away, but the fear of Karen's rejection stung, leaving her on edge. What would her next step entail? Would she risk exhausting her efforts on this single thread of connection, or could she find another avenue to realize her vision? Lisa took a deep breath, readying herself to forge onward. The real test lay ahead. Could the fire ignited in this conversation transform into an unstoppable force for change? The relentless rhythm of Lisa's heart echoed in her ears as she exited the office building, a cacophony of thoughts competing for her attention. The conversations with Karen had unveiled a chasm of unresolved emotions and sparked a primal urge to push forward. Maybe she had struck a nerve, but was that vulnerability a chink in Karen's armor or merely a fleeting moment of weakness? Doubts swirled with the vibrancy of her determination, and she steered her thoughts back toward her purpose. Lisa walked briskly through the bustling streets of the city, the energy of the urban landscape propelling her forward. As she approached her favorite cafe, she sensed the gravity of her mission settling into place. She needed allies beyond Karen. She needed a coalition of like-minded individuals willing to embrace the risk of investing in women's careers. At that moment, she resolved to leverage her recent experience. The dynamic of the conversation with Karen had highlighted Lisa's capacity for leadership, and she felt an unexpected surge of empowerment. Choosing a familiar spot by the window, Lisa settled into her seat, pulling out her laptop. Every keystroke felt purposeful as she crafted a message to her network. Her vision for the mentorship program was coming into sharper focus as she outlined the objectives in neat bullet points. The potential laziness of the status quo weighed heavily, and she mentally reminded herself that change rarely came from comfort. A wave of anxiety washed over her. What if they were all hesitant, unwilling to support her? Those thoughts flickered like distant shadows, but she quickly quashed them. Accepting rejection was part of the journey. It was the very thing that kept the flame of ambition alive. As her fingers danced across the keyboard, she defined the core values of the program: empowerment, accountability, and resilience. Each word was a testament to her experiences, to the women who had come before her, and to those who would follow. Suddenly, the realization struck her: this path required not just action, but also trust in her instincts. She remembered the times in her life when she had hesitated to speak up, the moments when her voice had faltered under the weight of uncertainty. No longer. With each sentence, Lisa was rewriting the narrative she had internalized for so long, a narrative that claimed she was less capable because of her gender. She grinned as the outline neared completion. The thought of sharing it with a group ignited a fire within her. This wasn't just about mentorship, it was a movement, one that would foster an understanding that women's success wasn't mutually exclusive to men's positions in the corporate world. As she sat back and admired her work, a flutter of excitement coursed through her. She needed to launch a gathering that could transform her vision into reality. But that also meant prepping for pushback. Nothing worthwhile ever came without challenges. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. A notification popped up from her professional network. It was an invitation to participate in a Women's Leadership Summit next month. The timing felt almost serendipitous. She had barely glanced at the details before she realized this could be the platform she needed to unveil her program. Compelled by instinct, she clicked accept and felt the weight of her decision settle around her shoulders. This needed to be more than an abstract vision. It was about rallying support from those who shared a commitment to systemic change. Yet, a gnawing apprehension clawed at her insides. The summit would be a testing ground not just for her initiative but also for her confidence. As she gathered her thoughts, the bitter taste of self-doubt lingered. Would she be able to present with conviction? Today signaled the beginning of taking control of her narrative. But what if she stumbled when it mattered most? The ticking clock in the cafe and the rush of pedestrians outside became a backdrop for her fears and aspirations. It was time to prepare, to practice, and to seek feedback from trusted colleagues. Once again, the stakes felt impossibly high, but Lisa had come too far to retreat into the shadows. Bracing herself for the challenges ahead, she closed her laptop with determination. As she headed out of the cafe, a swirl of anticipation gripped her. This moment could either elevate her platform or expose her vulnerability on a grand scale. What awaited her at the summit, and could she withstand the scrutiny that came with unveiling her ambitions? The next step loomed ahead, presenting a fresh wave of uncertainty, the kind that ignited both dread and exhilaration. As the days raced toward the summit, Lisa felt a blend of excitement and trepidation that crescendoed with each passing moment. The workshop she planned to lead was not just a presentation, it was a declaration of her intentions. Yet, deep down, the specter of doubt loomed large. She would be confronted with a room filled with accomplished women, many of whom were seasoned leaders, their accolades shining brighter than her own. With her laptop open, Lisa immersed herself in preparation. She invited trusted colleagues to review her presentation, hoping their constructive critiques would fortify her confidence. Each meeting was a study in vulnerability. She had to open herself up to scrutiny, share her vision, and reveal personal stories that resonated with the values she was championing. The emotional labor weighed on her. What if they didn't connect with her experiences, or worse, if they dismissed her ideas altogether? One morning, as she presented to a small group of women she respected, she noticed subtle shifts in their expressions. Interest turned to raised eyebrows, and nods transformed into contemplative silence. Their feedback was authentic and piercing. "Lisa, your story is powerful, but are you ready to share it publicly? Vulnerability isn't just a narrative, it's a risk." The question hung in the air, dense with implications. As she looked into their expectant faces, Lisa felt the knot in her stomach tighten. The truth was, the fear of appearing weak plagued her. Sharing her journey meant exposing the very insecurities she had wrestled with for years. Was she ready to dismantle the carefully constructed facade of composure? In that moment, vulnerability became a double-edged sword. She realized that her hesitance had been preventing a true connection with her audience. If she hoped to inspire, she needed to embody the resilience she preached. The fear of rejection dimmed slightly as a new realization steadied her nerves: authenticity attracted authenticity. This was not just about her, it was about creating a space where others felt empowered to be honest. "Thank you for your honesty," she said, her voice steadying. "I guess I need to rethink how I frame my experiences. It's not just my story, it's a collective experience." The notion resonated with her, planting seeds of determination deeply in her psyche. Lisa began refining her narrative. She incorporated anecdotes of personal failures and hard-earned lessons, crafting a tapestry that reflected her journey to this point. Those stories, marked by uncertainty but punctuated by growth, would serve not only to clarify her mission but also to ignite a sense of kinship among her audience. Yet, beneath the surface, a sense of urgency grew. The summit approached like a wave, and with it came the overwhelming pressure to deliver a compelling presentation. Lisa's pulse quickened as she envisioned the myriad of scenarios that could unfold. What if she forgot her lines? What if an audience member challenged her perspective? The night before the summit, Lisa sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor surrounded by notes and index cards, repetition anchoring her thoughts. Each phrase she rehearsed echoed both her fear and her resolve. But she couldn't ignore the voice at the back of her mind whispering incessantly, what if she didn't resonate? What if her authenticity was too much? However, as she entered each imagined confrontation, she began to visualize a different outcome. Perhaps, just perhaps, vulnerability was her ally, allowing her to connect mindfully with others whose lives echoed hers. What if her experiences held the power to anchor the voices of other women navigating similar paths? As Lisa nestled into bed, her mind buzzed with potential. Somewhere between hope and apprehension, she realized the upcoming presentation could redefine not only her mission but also her understanding of her own identity. Tomorrow would be a battleground of emotions and rhetoric, but instead of allowing fear to undermine her, Lisa chose to lean into the moment. The dawn would bring new possibilities, she felt it in her bones. But as she closed her eyes, one unsettling thought crept in. Had she prepared enough? Would she truly rise to the occasion, or would this be yet another moment where self-doubt cast a long shadow over her aspirations? The suspense clung to her, mingling with determination. What awaited her at the summit was not merely the chance to present, but the potential to confront the deepest fears that had held her back for so long. Would she seize the moment, or would she falter when it mattered most? The morning sun broke through the clouds, illuminating New York City in hues of gold and warmth. Standing in front of the mirror, Lisa adjusted her blazer, an anchor of her newfound confidence. A day that once loomed like a storm was now a canvas, ready for her brushstrokes of ambition. She had prepared relentlessly, refining her presentation until it felt like an extension of her very being. The summit wasn't just an event, it was a pivotal chapter in her life. As she entered the conference hall, the chatter enveloped her like an embrace. Women of various backgrounds and accomplishments gathered, each one a testament to tenacity and achievement. Lisa felt the weight of her purpose settle on her shoulders. This was her opportunity to provoke change. No longer would fear overshadow her aspirations. She stepped onto the stage as her heart drummed with anticipation. Bright lights bathed her in a warm glow, amplifying her resolve to speak from a place of authenticity. The energy in the room buzzed as she introduced herself and her vision for the mentorship program, a chance for young women to rise above societal limitations. In that moment, vulnerability flooded her veins. The voices of doubt receded as she shared her journey. She recounted the struggles she'd faced as a single mother, juggling multiple jobs and battling loneliness. With each personal anecdote, she spoke not just for herself but for every woman who felt unseen, unheard, and unacknowledged. The audience sat in rapt attention. She could almost feel the collective heartbeat of understanding thrumming in response. As she transitioned to the core of her program, a sense of empowerment enveloped her. This was no mere project, it was a movement, a clarion call for women to support each other fiercely. She outlined her strategy, emphasizing community and resilience, weaving in her own stories of triumph over adversity. The transformation felt palpable, a threshold she was determined to step across. By the time she concluded, the audience erupted into applause, a wave of validation washing over her. Lisa felt a potent mix of satisfaction and relief. She had poured her heart into this presentation and the room had embraced it fully. As she exited the stage, the applause rang in her ears, an affirmation of her journey. The rest of the day cascaded with opportunities. Conversations ignited friendships, and before long, influential figures began expressing genuine interest in her program. One conversation stood out. A prominent speaker expressed her willingness to connect Lisa with key players in the community, offering a powerful platform to amplify her efforts. Days turned into weeks, and Lisa dove into building her mentorship program. Her efforts were met with enthusiasm from women eager to contribute. The program blossomed, transforming from an idea into a framework that offered guidance and empowerment to young girls. As milestones stacked up, Lisa began to reflect on how far she had come. The chaotic apartment that had once suffocated her now bore the marks of her growth. She had turned that space into a sanctuary where her children thrived under her influence and determination. The true culmination came when she received an invitation to headline a women's leadership event, a recognition she could only have dreamed of in her past. Standing before the audience again, she acknowledged the journey with deep gratitude. It wasn't just a celebration of her achievements, but a testament to the collective strength of women across all spaces. As she finished speaking, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. She was no longer just a survivor of her circumstances, she was a catalyst for change. Now, empowered by her transformation, she had cultivated an unshakable sense of purpose and clarity. Stepping off the stage, a rush of gratitude enveloped her. The foundation she had built not just for herself, but for her community echoed in her heart. She had reclaimed her narrative and positioned herself as a beacon of possibility for countless others. No longer confined by the shadows of doubt, Lisa stood proud, embodying the very change she had fought for. The time for hesitation was over. It was time to embrace the boundless potential awaiting every ambitious spirit. And now, as you absorb this powerful finale, I urge you to take action. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every single action makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and theories about this conclusion. We want to hear from you. Finally, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Join us in celebrating transformation and empowerment.